Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 3 Martini lunch. And yes, I still do have to read it from a piece of paper to remember the name of the event. That's called, can't remember anything. But this is a national virtual networking event. As we spoke last week, it's sort of a mastermind of masterminds, people that really share insight with one another and really actually do a lot of business with one another at this point. A lot of business is being sent back and forth to one another, and hopefully we'll send a lot more. For this particular panel, we use the Success is Contagious model of 3 Martini lunch that was developed by Sher, Elliot, and myself to make for a very productive, tight 1-hour event where we share each other's successes and how we create success and how we can bring success into more people's lives. We have a new feature today. What is the new feature?
If you go to rockstarconnect.com, you can network on our website.
Yes, if you go to our website, rockstarconnect.com, I am told you can directly network on our website right now. So if you go, is it working? Wow, that's pretty impressive. Only took us, 6 months to do it. But it works, and you can go there and you can network now right on the page. And we're gonna have
your sign in. If you don't have one, it's easy to sign up, and you can see everybody who's been there and chat with people who are live on the site.
So now we're gonna have some killer events right there on the website, conferences. If you want to have speaking opportunities, now you can have it within the Rockstar environment. So that's a big deal. The question for this week is something that Sarah, is very near to Sarah's heart. When we started Rockstar Connect, we did something that I had done in no other business that I've had before. She took pen to paper and she created foundational documents for our company. Of course, the business plan, also a code of ethics and a mission statement. And we utilize those foundational documents to chart the direction of our company. And we also go back to them pretty frequently, and if necessary, modify them. Certainly with COVID, it required us to make a lot of different changes.
Or change course to make sure we're staying with our original intent.
Yeah, or to change course to make sure we're staying with our original intent. So very important to have those documents. Not everyone has those. I mean, I know for years I started businesses. I said, well, I'm not I'm not accountable to anyone. I'm not borrowing money. I'm using my own money. So I don't need to have those foundational documents. But I was wrong. I probably would have been more successful. So the question is, do you have those type of foundational documents? Are they necessarily written down, or is it something up here in your head that you reflect on? And how can you use those, or how do you use those to be even more successful than you are as an individual or as a company? Some of you work for other companies and they have those type of documents as well, but I'm certain you have your own plan that you've created to utilize for yourself. And let's go over to Clint. We're missing the bottom part of his head.
Sorry, I have an old man blanket on because I'm cold.
So,
yeah. Got the chills. Yeah, been all day. So I'm one of those that works for another company. So I don't know what their foundational documents are there. Mine is, as you guys all know, you know me as a connector. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to do. The business development realm is where I'm aiming for that. So my goal is to build my reputation and my network enough to where people want those skills in their company to be a business development person. I'm going to have the opportunity, I think, in the company that I'm in now. And that's all up here. I have nothing written down. My wife did a lot as far as researching business development and what I would need to do and the skills I would need to have in order to do that. And so that helped me a lot. So maybe she created that for me.
Now, do you think it would value for you to, I love when it makes that little extra noise echo on my side. would it be a value of you to take a hammer and sort of hit the right side of your head so all those ideas come out of your left ear?
I mean, quite possibly. I mean, my head is pretty hard, so it might take a little extra whacking.
I mean, it seems almost like, the company that you work with, they've had a little bit of a, not, I wouldn't say a failure, but I mean, they missed an opportunity. If they've created those documents and they're available to you, to make sure that everyone in the company is familiar with them. And when we're going around round robin and answering that question, if you do have employees, if you do work with other people, are they aware of, your foundational documents? Do they have access to them?
Well, I will ask and report back.
Website.
Yeah, I'll ask and report back, Stephen.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And with a plan now, you do have a plan. It's in your head.
Mm-hmm.
You feel that you're more focused to accomplish and be more successful at what you do?
Yeah, it definitely helps. Just the building of relationships, Stephen, is what I'm good at. And so as long as I just put my focus on that and my focus on learning the business that I'm in now, I think I'll have that opportunity in the role. And so I am focusing on learning more of what I'm doing right this moment. And still cultivate.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know, still cultivating those relationships at the same time.
You mentioned the word, a few times, I think 3 times, focusing, focused. I think that's the key, right? I mean, a lot of people in business development, they think it's just networking.
Right.
If I'm everywhere, that's going to create an opportunity, but you're planning on putting some sort of focus in.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to know what you're doing, right? You have to know the business that you're in order to be able to develop said business and to bring the right customers to the company. And so that's kind of where my mind is right now, as far as learning who are the right people to talk to bring that business to my company. Gotcha.
Okay, great. Let's go over to Ray Fuentes. And Ray is an independent business person. He's also affiliated with a national brokerage. I know they have foundational documents and a mission statement. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, that's a wonderful question. My thoughts are, obviously based on my background, I think we all have some preconceived notion about what business should be like. My preconceived notion is only what I saw on TV growing up. I know that sounds weird, but I was in the military. My father was in the military, so I didn't know anything about civilian businesses. The idea, specifically with the company I'm with, Fathom, the idea that they have a foundation, they have a plan, they share the information with the agents, with me. It's available online. I can go look at it. I have information I've downloaded and I embrace. It's one of the reasons I'm with the company, is because of how they, what they're working on in terms of working with real estate agents.
And we work with the same brokerage company.
That's right.
Business development. I used to be their director of business development for Fathom for a number of years. And what does make them different than other companies is the fact that they explain why they do what they do. Because
very much so.
They don't charge. They don't charge their agents a fee. There's no commission split. There's a very small transactional fee just to cover the cost of the transaction, and cover our liability and things along those lines. But there's a lot of firms that don't charge a fee. What their belief is that we're servants and that we're to utilize that money, first of all, to be more successful ourselves, to make more money. They want us to make more money. And in addition to that, they like us to serve and help as many people as possible. So
that's the interesting part about my comment about the military. The military has a goal. They have a mission, protect the United States, more and more or whatever. And Fathom has a mission to help agents be more successful by giving us the tools we need and help us set our goals to complete our personal mission, our personal goals. And as you mentioned, they give us what we need. We just have to use them.
Yeah, I mean, what I love about it is that most of the agents that I know that I work with in Fathom, they all make over six figures. It's very rare to meet one that does not. And they tend to take that money and be involved in charities and local organizations and do rebates for veterans and help support, because we're a lot of ex-military in our company. And we're encouraged to help people like first responders. I list properties for all teachers for free and have for, since I was with my company. I spoke with them about it. I said it fit their what they said to do, and they said, by all means, do it. Other brokerages would not allow you to do that. Correct?
That's correct. Most of them have a minimum commission that because they run their marketing, their business, and it's their company off the commissions the agents make. So they have a minimum amount that they're expected the companies do to make. And our company is so the opposite of that.
I mean, it's so nice right now with, the fact that buyers are having so much difficulty purchasing homes nowadays that we have the flexibility to contribute to their purchase. I mean, can contribute to their down payment to assist them in buying a home.
Yep.
So if you're out in California, definitely reach out to Ray. If it's getting more expensive to buy a home, I'm sure he, with Fathom's blessings, he can help the people that you refer to him.
Yes, thank you very much. So you mentioned teachers and having people in the military. I started, having been in the military, I started helping rebates or credits or discounts or whatever people want to call it for veterans. And after being in the military, my initial stint, I became a teacher. I was a teacher for several years. So I gave that same discount to teachers. Mm-hmm. And that obviously has, I don't want to say obviously, but that has expanded to first responders, people in the medical industry. And by the way, one of the things that's pretty cool that you mentioned giving back, you don't even have to be a teacher. You just have to work in the education system, right? Mm-hmm. You work at a school, at the district office, whatever it is. I just wanted to give back, and Fathom allows me to do that partly because the commission structure is fixed. It's a small fee that 20 or 30% that I would normally give to my brokerage, I can easily give that to somebody else, and I make just as much money as any other agent.
So, does it make more money for you in the long run? People seeing you as someone who's helping the community.
I don't know, because I guess it does, because I have people that come to me specifically for that.
Well, I was thinking
for those discounts, I guess.
People that were grateful, maybe, they're referring someone to you that doesn't possibly qualify for that discount, but they want to reward you because you helped them.
And that is true too. That has also happened. So I've had folks say, Ray does a great job and he gives a rebate or whatever. And I've had people, refer people, other buyers or sellers to me based on that.
Excellent.
So, yeah, it's a great program. I like the idea that you mentioned our company is kind of based on service. And I love the idea of serving. I think that's ingrained in me. That's my gift or whatever, to serve others. I get more out of that than making a ton of money or art, whatever it is. I just like helping others.
They really struck a chord. So the founder of the company is devoutly Christian, and he actually created something that appeals to everyone, regardless of their religion, sexual persuasion. I mean, it's a completely diverse company. Every religion is represented, and because everybody would like to be a servant. Real estate agents, they don't want to feel like they're a used car salesman. They want to elevate, if it's a great place to elevate, if you want to elevate your career, to do it with a company that gives back. I'm going to go to Domenic next, because he's in the car, just in case he has to cut off. And then I'm going to go over to Mark, because Mark's company very much believes in service as well. So we'll go over to Mark after that. Domenic, so you work with New York Life, of course, and they've been around forever and a day with some incredible foundational documents. Do you utilize them? Have you created some of your own? And how do you use that to be more successful?
In the way I think about it, well, there's going to be several levels of foundational documents when it comes to New York Life and my practice with New York Life. So, of course, New York Life has foundational documents. They're a 175-year-old mutual life insurance company and financial services organization, and they're a Fortune 100 company. So they have these foundational documents. Now, have I seen the original operating agreement and the foundational documents? No, but I certainly have the mission statement. I have in my office in Raleigh, I have a framed print of the New York Life mission statement that's right there on the wall. One, to remind me of what our mission is as a company, and two, to let my clients know that this is what we believe, and I'm proud enough to put it right there so you can see it. But then, in addition to that, I have what I consider to be foundational documents, which is my contract with New York Life. So that's a foundational one of the foundational documents of my financial services practice. And then, in addition to that, I have foundational documents about what my mission statement is as an agent and advisor. And I keep a set of, and I won't call them goals. I have structured for myself the OKR principle, or objective key result system, for keeping track of the metrics as I move towards what I want my objectives to be as a business, as even though I'm working with New York Life, I'm myself a business owner and operator in operating my financial services practice. So I have goals set out. I have people that I specifically want to work with, and I have written out code of ethics for myself as to how I want to work with my clients and other people in my community. And a lot like Clint, I do that by being a connector, and I get an opportunity to give back to the community that gives me so much. So there's several layers of operational documents, but yes, I have a formal operating agreement with New York Life. I also have a formal mission statement for myself with you, and New York Life has one. And then I keep my own set of objectives. So there's a lot of things that I have written down to keep me focused, right? Like Clint mentioned, there's a lot to writing things down that makes them real. And if you don't have what your objective is, what your mission statement is, what your operating agreement is, if you have a business and you don't have a business plan, then you're just going to be kind of wandering through the forest until you have those down, because you don't have a roadmap to where you want to be.
Well, I mean, what's pretty cool about this is, I mean, you're working with a company, been around 175 years, has basically their own constitution.
Right. I mean, they've got the GDP of some small countries.
Well, I mean, they're older than probably 30 countries, that have been formed since World War II.
At least, yeah.
So,
I mean, you think about it, Stephen. This New York Life is so old as a company that they had couriers on horseback that were delivering life insurance benefit checks to Civil War widows.
So how does it feel when you can make a connection, that far back, and think that maybe 175 years from now, people say, hey, and they had this guy and he drove his own car to talk to people about insurance?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even seem like a real amount of time because in the grand scheme of things, it's not that long of a time, but it's still, more time than we can fathom because, we think of it, think of the differences just in technology, say, when we were teenagers in the 80s and 90s, right? You never even thought you'd be able to be on a teleconference with people all over the country from your car while you were driving to an appointment. 175 or 30 years from now, what's the technology going to be like? I mean, we're going to have, Star Trek teleportation technology, right. And we're going to not even believe we're in cars, and now 175 years from now, who knows?
I mean, FedEx has been working on teleportation technology for 30 years. Essentially, we're doing that. We're moving data from one computer to the next. I mean, that's teleportation. I mean, everything that's been in my Flash Gordon and Star Trek and Dick Tracy all exist. I mean, that even the Dick Tracy telecommunication.
The watch with the communication. Yeah. It's better than he ever thought it would be, for sure.
And it's funny because adults, more kids use those watches, I think, than even the adults.
Oh, yeah.
We thought we would have adopted it first. Great stuff. Great stuff. Mark, Sher, what type of foundational documents do you utilize as an individual or for your company? Are you a believer in plans and mission statements?
Oh, hello, everybody. Thank you, Stephen, for the question. Before we start, I've been a little remiss. I just want to say that I engaged Rhonda Sher to do my LinkedIn profile, and she did a phenomenal job. Just thank you, Rhonda. Sorry. I have a cousin named Robin. That's why I mistake you so many times. But anyway, so foundational documents. I think that they're very important. We've learned that I deal with multiple people that work with us, for me, however you want to say that. And foundational documents are very important because when someone engages with you, if you have it in writing, then there's no surprises. If you don't have it in writing, someone's always going to get a surprise, and it just creates issues. I think that along the vein of foundational documents, I think it's very important to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, I always tell people you're planning to fail. That's in business and in life. And our whole business is showing people a plan on how to use money twice and at the same time eliminate debt in ways that they never thought were possible. You dug in a little bit with us, Stephen, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. When I look at just real estate, for example, people go, I don't have any debt. I go, you got a mortgage? They go, I sure do. I go, what's your interest rate? And I have this memorized, so I'll just tell you that if I get someone who's got a $300,000 mortgage, 5% for 30 years, I go, how much interest rate are you paying? They go, well, I'm paying 5%. I go, okay. And then I'll show them the numbers, and they just can't believe it. On a 5% 30-year mortgage, your payment's $1,610 a month, principal and interest. Not concerned with the escrow, with the taxes and the insurance. And first month, if you take $1,610, $1,250 is the interest you're paying, you divide it, you're only paying 78% interest. And then people always go to me, well, Mark, mortgages are front loaded with the interest. I go, you're right. Look, in the 10th year, you're all the way down to 69% interest. In the 20th year, you're down to 33% interest. You're not paying 5.3% interest till the middle of the 28th year. And now that the tax laws have changed, you don't even get to deduct that. And people just go, are you sure? I go, call your CPA. So again, we have a lot of fun educating people. And that's what we do is we teach people how to become financially literate. And it just amazes them when they're not. And again, that becomes a foundational document for us that we teach the people that work with us how to go out and explain that to people. Not so much as the rules and regulations and how things work, but I guess I would call that a foundational situation for us, teaching people how to really become financially literate, because there are so few people that are, including CPAs and most financial planners. And people just sit there and don't believe it. And I say, well, some of you have heard me say this before, some of you haven't. Just think about this. How important is nutrition to your day-to-day health? And everyone knows it's super important. If you have any friends or you know MDs, just simply go and ask them. And all your years of medical school, how many classes on finance did you really get? What did you learn? You learned accounting, assets and liabilities, right? And you learned the tax code. You didn't learn how money really works. And when it comes to CPAs, when it comes to doctors, ask them how many classes they took on nutrition. And they're going to say either this or this. And there's the analogy with the CPA.
Well, I mean, what happens is, we learn what we learned in the beginning, and then we go off into our narrow parts of what we're experts in and we understand. I mean, the best financial advisors will tell you, I'm not familiar with that aspect of finance, but I have someone I work with who would be better with securities, or someone better with life insurance, someone who can explain taxes to you. If a financial advisor sells themselves to you as someone who knows everything, is there a problem there, you think?
Anytime anyone tells you they know everything, kind of like run for the hills.
So now you have your new LinkedIn profile. Does that reflect some of the foundational documents and missions of your business now better than it did before?
The foundational documents, I wouldn't say that. It definitely helps bring our mission statement out in a more clear, concise way. When you talk about people having debt, and I'm not talking about people who are drowning, I'm just talking about people who work to pay their bills, and there's only 130 million people in this country that do it, everywhere from 50,000 to over $1 million a year. People that make money spend money. And there's such a large appetite for what we do specifically, designing the message correctly. And that's what Rhonda really helped us do, to make it accessible. I think that's the best thing that I can say, is that it's very accessible. Foundational documents, that's not really.
I'd like to see how your LinkedIn profile is going to impact other profiles in your company. That would be interesting.
So is Rhonda, believe me. She's counting on that as well.
Yeah, when something works, your family bank adapts it 100%. Yeah,
no question.
Rhonda, let's go over to you, since we mentioned your name 6 times in the last 20 minutes. When you started,
it's interesting.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Steven.
You go ahead.
So, it's interesting because I got to give a huge shout out to Jenny Midgley over there, who is phenomenal and generous. Jenny actually referred me to her virtual assistant, and I got to tell you, I've talked to a lot of VAs, but this woman is super, super impressive. And you'll laugh because I read her face, right? And so when I read her face, I knew how bright she was. And I also got how she was going to complete everything she started. So the question is actually kind of timely, Stephen, because the things that I want to do in my business, actually, Lindsay is going to help me do. So, and I have to tell you, Jenny, when I listened to you last week and what you said, you really motivated me, from an operations standpoint, to want to get this stuff, because I've been successful in spite of myself. It's because a lack of systems in terms of having them all in one place. I have the same contract. I have all the same things, right? But I don't have them in a way that's easily accessible in folders, organized, right? When it comes to doing the work, the LinkedIn profiles and all of that, yeah, that's all organized. That's all in systems. But I'm at the point in my business where now I really want to take it to the next level and get those operational things in place. And I realized that I need to stay in my lane. Okay, my lane is I am really, really good at positioning people on LinkedIn, teaching them how to generate those appointments, those 2 to 20 appointments a week, how to, position you as the only logical choice. What I'm not good at is setting up the systems. I'll give you a good example. I've had a couple people say to me, when I send out my proposal, you should have it in the form of a DocuSign, not just the same one. And I'm like, duh. Right? Well, I don't want to do that. That's not the best use of my time, but that's what somebody else can do for me, a VA. They can take what I have and put it in. So I love the question, love the people that have come to this group. And, that's what I'm going to do. And the one thing that I'll say to you, Mark, which is kind of cool, because I hope this happens for you, because I want to just give a shout out to Mark as well. Okay, because Mark, you did an exceptional job the other day of explaining to me exactly what you do in a way that I understood it. I felt it was easy to refer you. And, it just made it seem so simple. And if you haven't talked to Mark about what he does, take a half hour and talk to him. He knows his stuff and he's a very, very, very bright guy. In fact, I want to actually have my daughter, work with him for what he does. But I just want to share something because, Mark, we just started with your profile, right? And I have a client he does something very unusual. He does non-recourse IRA loans. Now, I don't even know what a non-IRA recourse loan is, okay? But what I will tell you is that it's something very specific and very rare. And because of his profile, and I'm hoping this will happen for you, Mark, somebody found him specifically on LinkedIn, and it's going to turn into $250,000 in commission on a loan that he's doing. Can you imagine? And that, and he basically said, Rhonda, I've kissed a lot of frogs and you're my princess. And I'm like, Mark, I didn't do anything. Another Mark. I go, Mark, I didn't do anything. I just positioned you. It just so happened that somebody was looking for what you had. And, other people that do what you do don't have profiles that actually have those keywords in there, right? So what I want to focus on is what I do really, really well, which is connect, position, and then, take advantage of all these amazing people who have the resources I need to be able to delegate, right? Like, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to for VAs until Jenny happened to be so generous and make that introduction. And Jenny was right on it. Like, there was an email right after we got off of Rockstar saying, here's the introduction. So kudos to you, Stephen, for attracting these amazing people. And, for this community, because I think that everybody here is incredible. It's all about giving first. So long answer to a short question, which is I'm getting my systems in place operationally and just kind of putting it all together and doing what I do so that I'm free to stay in my lane, with my gifts and have somebody else do all the stuff that it's ridiculous for me to be doing it. I should just pay someone to do it, because I don't have a company, but I want to be able to someday, pass this on to someone else, right? It won't be my kids because they have no desire to be entrepreneurial, but it might be somebody, right? So there you go.
Well, I think this is a good place for you to meet people that, want to bring your business beyond one person. And certainly, the Rockstar Network all around the country. And the networking for Rockstar Connect, for those who haven't delved into it, there are people all over the country that you can be connected to just by participating as an attendee at an event, and certainly as a host. The scope of business that you can do is incredible. Noah Ronan, who's a panelist, gave me a fantastic referral this week where I was able to help one of the new people from California that was coming to the Triangle area. And just with referrals from Rockstar Connect this weekend, I probably generated about $60,000 in commission.
That's awesome. And, it's funny through, Katja, right, who's often a panelist. Katja reached out to me and interviewed me on her podcast. And then I said, oh, wait, I know somebody. You should be on this guy's radio show. So now Katja's going to be on the James Cooley radio show, and it's just so cool the way all the magic happens. And when Greg McDaniel was on here, right? And Greg was a client of mine that I reconnected with, and Greg opened a whole lot of doors for me. So, and I've done the same. So it's just, Rockstar Connect is a community. I mean, that's what you guys have created. And if we don't take advantage of it, then shame on us, because you've really created something amazing,
Well, thank you. It's because of the lack of selfishness too. So if you do ask anyone that goes to any of the events all over the country for an introduction or to help achieve a goal, they're going to assist you in doing that. And typically the people that go to Rockstar Connect events, they are more networked in, and they're going to be able to do things to help you succeed. I've done multiple transactions in the last month that have benefited my clients simply because of who I know and what I'm able to do for them. And it starts with that meaningful connection first. There's no obligation to do business with anyone whatsoever, but it is nice to have friends, especially in today's day and age. It's invaluable. Let's go over to Rena, and then we'll do Jennifer, and then Jenny, I'll give you last word, okay? Hi, Rena.
I'm doing great, and it's so glad to be back with you all. It's been months.
Yeah, it's been a very long time.
Yes, I've been very busy, having an amazing time. And I first want to do a shout out to Jenny. Jenny had me on her podcast this week or last week. Oh my gosh, she and Sarah do the best podcast ever. If you've never watched it, Girls Who Do Stuff, love the title. And we just had the best time. We laughed, we talked. It was amazing. Thank you, Jenny, for that amazing opportunity. And thank you, Stephen and Sarah, for creating a venue for Sarah and I, or for Jenny and I to connect. How amazing. So going back to your question, I have a mission statement, and my mission statement is to give voice to the voiceless. And I do that through providing best practices, training, coaching for lasting growth and transformation. And that's kind of my guiding mission statement. And everything that I do flows from that. With that mission statement, I can reach my attorneys, politicians, CEOs, the people that I work with who can afford to pay me for my services, so that I can then do my real work, which is working with women in recovery and women running for office who have no war chests. And I can then work with them, give them coaching on speech and presentation. And my other group of clients pay for me to be able to do my give back efforts. So that's what I have to contribute today.
Well, that's terrific. And you're out in Oklahoma, which is pretty much entirely open.
Yes.
Well, we should really have, someone from the team talk to you about possibly starting your own Rockstar Connect event out in Oklahoma.
Well, I've been thinking about that as I've been attending these meetings. It's been such a benefit to me personally, this group, that I would love to consider that in this part of the country.
The physical events are amazing. And Mark can point to you, talk about this as well. You don't necessarily meet your client at the event, but you meet the person that is motivated to bring you to that client
right.
at the event, because they're so grateful for you to host. And it's not easy to host a consistent, regular event. It's very hard. But when you're with Rockstar Connect, we're the best employees that you don't see every single day. You'll probably hear from us in some way every day, and we're going to be working. But it makes you sort of into that superhero rock star that can do something consistently with a lot less effort. And people ask me about networking, and I say, well, I'm sort of a lazy networker. I want to do it as efficiently as possible, with as little steps as possible and as much impact as possible. Those of you who are in the North Carolina area or in driving distance or who wants to jump on a flight, North Hills Networking was the first Rockstar Connect networking event. We started it in my office in North Hills in Raleigh in North Carolina. Our first event in a year, our first North Hills networking event will be May 20th at the Renaissance Hotel, deep in North Hills, in our area where we started. And they're going to be providing us with some nice hors d'oeuvres and a beautiful mezzanine area to hold the event. I welcome you all to come and see where it all started. I know Sarah's very excited, and she's already planning her outfit for the evening. And, we want it to be a big hit. We're allowed to have 100 people now at an event in the Triangle. And I'd like to see 100 people there. That'll be a really big event here for Raleigh. So just a shout out and a plug for Sarah, the event that started Rockstar Connect all over the country, North Hills Networking, May 20th, 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. Please be there. We'd love to have you. Hey, we're going to go over, and thank you, Rena, so much. Really, I would like you to speak to one of our success coaches. Jennifer.
I would love that.
And thank you. Jennifer in Myrtle Beach, who is now expanding from the Carolinas to Florida, more confident every single week in her business, very successful business person. What are your foundational documents? Do you have them? Are they in your head? Is it something that you've written down? And how do you use them to leverage more success?
So yeah, when I first started this business, I was relying on a lot of research and looking at what other similar industry kind of businesses are doing and looking at their documents. So it's basically scumbagging it, without hiring an attorney. You look at what other businesses are doing and then change it to fit into your language. So that's what I did a lot of. And then
call that? They call it
scumbagging.
Okay.
Which I highly recommend, especially if you're just starting out and if you have the determination and the technical savvy, you can get away with it. So I did a lot of that. And then, it's extremely vital because then that's something that you can refer to for your marketing and knowing what language to say about yourself, but also for building your team. A lot of the code of ethics is pretty much in the agreements that I give to my interns. So I have it all prepared, etc., all the forms. But since I'm a heavy Adobe user, you have e-sign documents, you have all your graphic design documents and document creators of sorts that you can have everything looking professional without spending anything besides your monthly subscription fee. So having that, I just basically had tools that you would normally charge an arm and leg for someone to do that outsourced. So that's with Mintprint LLC, and now was moving with my animation startup. That's even more important, especially with the business plan, because that's a lot more money, a lot more team power with people around the world and, interested investors. So heavy into the business plan part. And then the ethics, it's not something that I can put together by myself. And that's where I'm going to offload that to someone I'll trust for the HR department and, work with them one-on-one when the time is right, because that's something I want to just establish right around immediately. I don't want that to be an issue. That's something that could harm us if we don't. I know the value of how important having paperwork is for knowing how to conduct yourself in your company and all the rules and your mission, which would definitely need to realign with your whole company during the whole progress of growing, of course. So I don't think that's going to be static. That's going to be pretty dynamic as we grow.
And obviously you're growing. When you first started coming on the show, you were just a penguin, and now you're Jennifer Williamson, business person. I
don't mind showing off the penguin because that's not something everyone can do. It's animation tools. Yeah.
You're showing off your confidence and that vocabulary. If any of that's in your foundational documents, I can see why you're a success. Jenny Midgley, you get the last word on foundational documents.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think it's interesting because like it's something that as entrepreneurs or as sales like if you work for a company, right, you go through the orientation, you get the handbook, and everybody tells you what the mission statement and the value. I mean, working in healthcare for 20 years, like, we had our values imprinted on our badges in the back, like in a little holder that we would carry around, and they're posted all over. It's a huge like customer experience thing when you're looking at some of those front facing companies in healthcare and things like that. So that was, that was my comfort zone. That's what I was accustomed to. And going into the entrepreneurial space, it was like, it's those types of things that you take for granted that they don't exist unless you create them, right? I have them only because I went through an entrepreneurship program that I ended up on the outs of it, coming out with a handbook of all the things that I would need. And so that I could understand, like, and it's not just the mission and the, like, what I want my customers and clients to walk away with, and what I want the people with whom, the people with whom I operate to experience when they work with me, but it's also the things like a P&L and what do I need for my accountant and the business plan and the marketing plan and all of those things that are, build upon items, right? Like you have those foundations and then you build upon them. I also do vision boarding and vision casting. So specifically for my business, that's separate from, like, we have our family vision board and goals that we do every year. And then we do and then I do one for my business every year. And I actually, this year, I did one and scrapped it after 3 months, and I'm doing another one because I was like, this doesn't fit anymore. I'm just going to switch it. We're going to do this one. And like when I do vision boarding, I do old school. Like I have my poster board and my stack of magazines, and I cut things out and I glue them. It just makes me happy.
Science.
Right. It's those types of things, right? That like, I think that the main word that I'm hearing what everybody is saying is intentionality, right? When you're doing these things and you're being intentional about them, and you understand the impact that intentionality can have in the long run, on your business, it means that you're going to keep doing things with intentionality, and you're not just going to focus on whatever is the next thing in front of you. So, and I do want to thank Rena. Like, it was an amazing show. Like, we had so much fun. Like, we closed everything down, and Joe was like, she's just one of those guests that gets more endearing the longer the hour goes on. I was like, that is a great way to describe what we just experienced. Because it was a fun show. And Rhonda, I'm so glad that Lindsay's working out for you, because, and it was a timing thing with that, right? Like, because literally 4 days before, she had said to me, if I can take on 3 or 4 more clients a month, then I can shift the way I'm working in my life and make it look more as I want my vision to be. And so she asked me that, and I referred her to like 4 or 5 people. So hopefully she can reimagine her own life. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's those types of things, again, with intentionality, right? We go back to what we were talking about last week is staying in your lane and understanding when it's time to outsource and things that you want to do and things that you don't want to do. And because when you have those foundational plans, when you have that understanding, then you can springboard from that and grow.
Great stuff. We have a little bit of time. I just want to have a little bit of fun here and ask you a quick question. I'm going to go to everyone real quickly. Did you have a sale this week, Jenny?
Did I have a sale this week?
Since the last time you were on the show, from now
on.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Anything you want to brag about?
I mean, so one of my goals is to get, I have a minimum number of people I want to get in the studio for just like simple mini sessions. And I have one, it's only the 11th, right? So I'm like 2 clients away from meeting that goal for this month.
Excellent. Congratulations. Mark, Sher, any humble brags?
No humble brags, but I will say Gardens Seasons 52 reached out to us today and said they'll be open for a Rockstar in June. We're very excited about that.
Yeah, we're very excited about that too, because we've been calling them every month for a year, and they go, not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
Now.
They finally said now. Congratulations, Rena. Success you've had. You're undo yourself.
Yep. I picked up 3 exciting clients this week. One is a dialect for an actor. Another is a vocal rehab, someone who has an issue, and I'm going to help them vocally rehab. And then yesterday, I was called to the Oklahoma State Capitol to hold a debate camp for a caucus of legislators who want to debate better on the floor of the Oklahoma House of Representatives. So I got to mix it up with them. And so it's been a great week for me.
That's big stuff. That's big stuff. Congratulations. Jennifer Williamson.
So yeah, continued a renewal for the advertising packages for one of my long-term Carolina Bulletin advertising clients. And then also a big win is I just launched the digital magazine for Florida Bulletin this morning. So if you want to check us out, it's florida-bulletin.com.
You gotta reach out to Mark and tell him about that down there in Florida.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn.
He'll give you some referrals for sure. Ray Fuentes, successes. Who have you helped this week?
So this last week, I closed escrow on a house 4% over list price.
Awesome. Congratulations.
So I was very happy to help them.
Rhonda.
Yesterday I was at the vet with my dog, and I got an email that said, oh, here's your proposal, and here's your credit card. Here's a credit card form filled out. I was like, oh, this is great. It was just a pleasant surprise. And the best part is we're going to Maui on Sunday for a week. I'm so excited.
I should go for a month. Go for a month.
No, we'll go for a week. I'm not bringing my computer. I am basically just, I'm on the beach.
When you come from all the way in Raleigh, by the time you get there, a week is definitely not enough. You sleep.
Yeah, for us it's only 5 hours, so it's really not bad.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. We've had a lot of successes here, and I hope everyone has more successes. Thank you for sharing them. It's been a while since we shared our successes. Don't forget to check out the website. You can network right on the website right now, which is pretty cool. And we'll see you next week at 3 Martini Lunch. Same time, same place. New question. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Feel better, Stephen.
Thank you. I'm going to have a little more soup and then write a contract for 2 of my clients. RockstarConnect.com. Check out Rockstar Connect.